Welcome back, fellow scrubs. This is Mark D. Wiz. We're back another Monday, another Pocket Fighter EX stream. So let me throw it on over. And here we go. Alright, so brief update on what's transpired through the past week and all that sort of stuff. We did a, I wouldn't say a deep dive, but a dive into looking at GGPO and all the things that it has to offer for all sorts of NetPlay solutions, we'll say. And so we've got a decent idea of how it operates fully. Like, obviously we knew what the basic idea of the rollback and all that stuff. But now we've taken a look at, you know, how it wants to control things, how it wants to connect to things, etc., etc. So we've made plans based on that to go forward, you know, with our new missions in the coding space. So that's gone pretty well. There hasn't really been too much big discoveries, so to speak. Excuse me. In a hiccup. Not too many discoveries concerning, you know, any surprises along the way. It's all been pretty much in parameter, and that's been good. So we're still pretty much on track. I would say with the worst part that we'll probably have to do is dealing with Unity's not quite so consistent math, and I'll explain in a bit what that means. There's three things we really have to do to make this work. Obviously, to implement GGPO's code into the game. And part of that, because it is only currently written as a Windows library, is being able to port that to be a more platform-independent kind of thing. So if we can port that to C# and make that work with Unity, that would be great. That would be exactly what we need to do. Then on top of that, that part's probably going to be the easiest. And then we have to make the game save and load state. So the way that GGPO rewinds, as we discussed before with the rollback, it saves a state, and if in the next few frames, if input comes in and it's like, ah, shit, well, the games would have desynced. We're going to have to go back to that saved state and then replay the game with the right inputs and then snap back to the current time. So it has to be able to save that state. That's going to be moderately difficult. I think it's going to be more just a mountain of friggin' work, as opposed to it being difficult to design and to manage. Just not so much that, but it's just going to take a long time to get everything in the game to save and to load properly and all that stuff. So chat asked, you use C#. Do you think you can teach C#? Maybe, but I don't have the time to teach people C#. But I do know where you can get it. If you go to Google, I'm gonna take a guess here. Microsoft C# tutorial. Fundamentals. Oh yeah. Okay. C# fundamentals for absolute beginners from Bob Tabor. That's the guy you're looking for, I'm pretty sure. Is that him? I think that's him. Yeah, he does the Microsoft's Virtual Academy, Bob Tabor. So, yeah, you can Google it, or just go to YouTube and search C# fundamentals, or Bob Tabor, or Tips Loader, whatever. And you can, he's got a great thing, like we had Tim go through his videos, and in 1 week he was already getting to compiling programs and doing shit. So that's good. So he'll be able to take you through the whole gambit of the stuff, teach you how it works. So if you're an absolute beginner, this is the place to go. Find a good book and then pull out the MSDN reference sheet anytime you need. I'll be honest. Half the time, if I need something, I just Google it. At this point, it's just C#. You just start with C#, either written out or with the pound sign. Is it pound sign? Is that what they call it? Anyway, the hashtag sign for all the kids out there. And then I just type in the question I have, and it just goes. Hey, 90% of the stuff is I'm looking through Unity's stuff anyway. Like I've come from the C++ world, so I already know the ins and outs of pretty much how all this stuff works. Just to put a different set of words on top of it, and that's it. So yeah, I would go here if you really want to learn, and just go through his courses. Original course link here. Yeah, I would go through it from here. To be honest, yeah, like installing Visual Studio, doing your first thing, this is probably the better. You know, I'll paste this in chat here. Just go here. That's it. And he'll take you. Good old Bob will take you through it. And yeah, Tim went through this. I think went through the whole thing in about a week. And yeah, I'm not even sure he got through the entire thing. And he was already flying with it, so it's a good one. We've had success with people doing that. No problem. So it's the saving and loading. There's not too much to say about that. It's just going to be a lot of work as opposed to, I think, as opposed to being difficult. And that's just I'm just gonna have to grind it out. And I've already started with the fundamentals on that one. So then the third part of this is making the game deterministic. And what we mean by deterministic means that 100% of the time, if you say you save a replay, and really all a replay is just recording the button presses and a match, and then it just feeds them back into the match code, and you watch the thing play out. That has to work 100% of the time. If there's any glitches in there that would cause it not to work 100% of the time, then your thing's not deterministic. The big problem that we might be, well, I know we'll be running into it. The big problem is getting Unity to calculate things in a way that's deterministic. And so, like, using normal floats and shit is wrong. Like, it's not accurate. Like, you can get different results sometimes from the same exact calculation. And those kind of issues and errors can compound rather, over time, and say by the end of the match, you have moved farther right than you were supposed to by only very small amounts, but then all of a sudden it's just enough to make an attack connect that attack would not have connected normally. And now your replay screwed up, and then it's no good. It is good for creating apps, C#, yes. It's a very, very easy mode version of C++ if you want to boil it down to something. It's very forgiving. It does have a performance cost for being friendly, but for the most part, anything that most people are going to be making, especially when they're starting out, they're not going to need that performance boost. That would be for something like really cutting edge. And I haven't created applications with Visual Studio. In fact, one of them is, I'll type it in the chat. Boom, the chatbot. He replies. I made him in C#. I also used SQL or SQL, if you want to call it that, and all sorts of other stuff combined with it, but the main code is running off of C#, yeah. Hiss. What's wrong? Only Microsoft vermin call it SQL. I know, I always call it SQL. But some people only want to hear SQL. Yeah. C#'s good for just getting up and getting stuff running without a lot of hassle. C# pretty friendly about that. So it's something that I recommend, and in general, Unity I put under the same thing. You know, especially if you're new to it, Unity is probably the thing that you want to use. It just is. So, as you can see, the game actually compiles so far, even though the save state system is half baked in there at this point. But just to kind of show you, everything in Unity is pretty much controlled by C#. So all of this, all the coding for the characters, for the systems, all that shit, it's all C#. And so it runs pretty well. It was easy for me to transition to C#, you know, considering that it's basically C++ but easy mode. And I've been working in C++ for so long that it's just like, okay, fine. So yeah, I would recommend it, especially if you're starting out. So then the third, are we on the third part now? Oh yeah, we're talking about deterministic stuff. So like when you do, I'm just gonna pull a random object here, and let's see. I'll just pull a random script out of nowhere. Here's the big bad issue, and you'll see why this is going to be a mountain of work. Let's go to, where's the walking code here? Core main update. I will close those ones. Alright, we'll go to main update. Update fighter core. Let's see, where's the walking code? Probably, here we go. Alright, so like this translate position here. It's a little method I made. Oh, I guess it doesn't really... Oh, okay, so I'm calculating it here. So if you see here, I'm doing vector3.left times movement data, walk data, backwards speed, times time controller, times step, times blah blah blah. So yeah, these are float values. They're called floating point values. They're not, oh man, they're not accurate. Hey, what's up? They're not accurate. So this, potentially, under different circumstances, will give you different results. And this may not actually calculate to the same thing every time under the same conditions. And it's bad. I don't know exactly why it does this, but it apparently just doesn't. And so the amount of error that it could be off by also changes depending if you're on Windows or perhaps on a different processor. Like an Android version, if we ever made one, or a Mac version or a Linux version, would have different amounts of errors of being off on this calculation. So say Windows might not be as severe as the amount that it's wrong on Linux or on Mac, or vice versa. It could be different based on how long your computer's been running or anything. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, it's not good. It's really not good, and Unity is not really all that great at stemming this issue. So, like this vector3.left, that's information that comes from Unity. Well, how do we know this is going to be right? We don't know. We don't know if that's going to be right or not. We have no clue. It doesn't have to be. It might not be. So how do we deal with that? We haven't figured that out quite yet. The backward speed, that's just a value that I input, so that should be okay, but I would still want to change it to a more reliable data type. Now you can get more consistent calculations, and I understand that they're kind of slower to calculate. If you want it to be accurate, there are ways to do it apparently. It's just a lot slower. So I'm assuming that they use the less accurate one because it's good enough and it's fast. It's just a guess, but I suppose that'd be the only reason to do that. The time step is calculated by a value that comes from Unity. Can we trust that? Probably not. Alright, our transform is our position, our local scale. .x, is that an accurate value? Hell no, it's not. In fact, Unity actually screws this up in the editor all the time, and now I know why it does that. So we can't rely on this one either. So what the hell do you do? You know? We probably have to just make our own replacement versions of some of the Unity things in there, and then of course on top of that it's like, okay, well, why bother using Unity if you can't use the components that it gives you and shit like that? And even then, I don't know. It's a whole big topic, and I'm not gonna get too much into it because I could talk the whole 2 hours about this, about potential issues and other shit to go along with it. So I'm not gonna run through the whole gamut, but know that this equation has about 4 failure points in it. In fact, every step of the way is a failure point that could be different at any time for no reason at all. And that's not good, because if it's different one way on your side and different one way on the opponent's side, well, now you're desynced. It may not 100% cause the match to have a different outcome, but if you simulate it 1,000 times, there's a chance that one of those might not be right, and that's bad. That's really bad. So, yeah, what do we do about that? We're not sure quite yet. I got some ideas, but it's not fully formed, so we'll have to continue working on that. And that's really the 3 things that we've got going on here. So we're still in phase 1. We haven't even touched quality of life improvements, because performance optimization and getting things ready for GGPO are going to be taking the front burner for quite a while. And then once all that shit's done, now we can start hitting on this and then actually attaching GGPO in for the netcode. It's going to be a while. It's a lot of work. Very, very, very huge amount of work to get that working. So, but it's interesting, right? So we'll keep plugging away on it. That might be a bit before we have really a lot to say about that, other than we're still working on it. And that's pretty much it. So, I guess we'll kind of just roll on into the next part. We've got some animation. I've been working on some stuff on the side. Let me... I don't have a folder open for this, do I? Let's go to my resources. So we go to Chun. I've been doing Chun because she's got some animations that will be necessary once we get to her, so I want this stuff to be ready on its own, and then I don't have to worry about it when the time comes. So I believe the one that we were working on before, I don't know if we did all of these or not, but I did animate a whole bunch of these. Is that the same? That's the same as this, so close that. I think this is... Yeah, so that's what we were working on last time, and I did finish that. So we do have a satisfactory... stop it here. Do have a satisfactory animation now. There's the frame in question, and then she kind of goes back to her stance there. So this is her neutral heavy kick, as seen in Street Fighter 3 and 4 and 5, but first was in 3, and CBS 2 also was first in 3. Anyway, but it's now part of her sort of established moveset that got changed around in Street Fighter 3. It's really the basis for everything after that. So yeah, it looks pretty good now. I fixed the foot, fixed the other foot, I fixed the legs, all that shit, and then so the hands are new here. As she kind of clenches back to a fist, back down. So I think it looks pretty good. So that's the end result, what we did last time. And then this one I had been working on for a while, but I made some major tweaks to it. And I think it looks a lot better now. This is her forward. This one here. Oh, stop. This one here is her forward heavy punch in air. And then if you, in third strike, if you were to press the punch button again, you would get that move. So it's like a 2-hit. Only if this one actually hit, I think. Hello, crossover legend. So there's that. So I had this pretty much mostly done, but I had to tweak some stuff. Cleaned up a few things. I think I actually redid the bottom of that foot. I'm doing pretty good. How about you? And then, of course, this is the first hit, which I don't think I changed too much except for the legs here. I didn't like the way the legs looked before. And then I changed this pose a little bit so that the legs transition a bit more naturally. Like that. And then it goes from here to here, and I fixed the hand up. All that sort of stuff. And I think I changed the arm a little bit. I might have made it a little smaller to de-emphasize it. I can't remember exactly. I know I was thinking about it. I think I did tweak it a little bit. So, yeah, there's that one. Boom, 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 boom. Makes a nice little air move. So, let's see. Was this one the kick? Yeah, it's kick. And then I animated the backdash. I don't know if I did that last time or not. But if I didn't, then you can see it here. So that includes the 2 frame. I think I changed one of the frames off stream. It was this one. I changed the direction that she's leaning during the tilt. And so these 2 are the only 2 new frames. The rest of them are recycled from other animations. But I thought, here it is. I thought it came out pretty good. Of course, you know, she'll actually move backwards in the game, and it'll look a bit more interesting there, but I think it looks pretty good. So we'll put that in whenever she gets in. And then the last one I was working on, I'm not done yet, is her Street Fighter 4 back grab animation. Is my favorite version of that. So I'm working on that, essentially. She does she grabs you, and then she does this like palm strike thing, and knocks your chin up, and then she goes around back and hits you with an elbow, and then she kicks you on your way back. So I always really liked that animation. I thought it was really cool, so I decided to do that. Some frames are reused, some are not. Like the spin, we already have a spin animation, so that just is what it is. And then so that one goes from here to the elbow, and the elbow is a new frame, of course. How do you think of Ryu and Ken's Smash Bros. Ultimate voices? I think they're the same people that did Street Fighter 4 voices and Street Fighter 5 voices, so, I mean, they're the voices of Ken and Ryu. Not too much to say about it, other than, yep, that's Ken and Ryu. That's them, alright. So, this pose took a lot of work to get right, but I think it came out pretty good in the long run. And then this one here needs more work, like the face don't look quite right. But, that's pretty much how it looks. And this is a little, let's see, to me, they're always going to be weird. Street Fighter 2 generic voice, although I love the Alpha 3 ones too. I wish to see their voices in this game. Smash Bros. Voices. Well, we probably will be changing what voices are being used, because there's voice clips. There's only so many voice clips from the Alpha voices, which is the ones that we're currently using. And we've kind of hit that wall of, they're not cutting it anymore. So like with, a really good example here, because Terry and Ken are both in, and they have their classic intro with each other. The Alpha version of Ken, this ain't gonna work. I gotta go to the other mode. The other or the alpha version of Ken doesn't have the voiced line that Ken uses when addressing Terry. So, let me change it. Yeah, we'll just do singles and it'll be fine. So if we... So there, he just says Ikze because that's really the only thing I had to put in there. But he should be saying something like Sorayo, something like that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, or if that's the right words. You can't even hear him because of the music? Oh, alright. Yeah, Unity's probably knocked down on the... Or no, that's pretty high actually. Either way, well, I just wanted to show you the animation that accompanies it. So in CVS 2, Ken uses a different line, and he has that line in Street Fighter 4 or 5 or whatever. Yeah, so we're thinking we're just going to bring him up to that, you know, level, I suppose you would say, that modernization, so that they can use all that stuff. Oh, it was your music that was too loud. Well, that's not on me then, is it? No, I'm not. I am not planning on releasing this as open source. No. So by using the Street Fighter 4 and 5 voices, we can get those extra lines, so that Terry and Ken can finally have their actual intro with the right lines and all that. And you know, the current voices don't sound bad, and there's only so many voices in Alpha. There's actually not very many at all for each character. So we'll have a bit more leeway with what we can put in. And because some characters also have English voices, I can look into possibly having a language select option, something like that. And we're actually already using some contemporary voice work for Terry already. So whose voice actor I don't think has actually changed like ever. Except for like once like KOF 98 hit, I don't think his voice work or voiceover ever changed. Except for maybe at Max Impact or something. But we're already using some modern voice work for Terry, so we might as well just go to full gambit with the rest of them. As much as I do like the Alpha voices, but you know, either way, you kind of can't go wrong. There's still Ken's voices and Ryu's voices and all that, so it just is what it is. Although you can't mix and match because they do sound very different. I think it would be wisest to use Street Fighter 4 and 5's voice actor for that, because you'll have Street Fighter 4, you'll have Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you'll have Street Fighter 5, and assuming that the voice work I think is the same in Smash, you could still pull from Smash too. So it's all the same stuff. And you can mix and match all of those. Gives us a lot of variety to work with. I think that's the best way to go about it. And for Chun, same deal. We'll just start her with Street Fighter 4 voices, or 5, or whatever it happens to be. Actually, no, her voice work changed between 4 and 5. At least on the English side, I think. I think Cammy's did too. I'm not sure. I have to look it up, but if they sound similar enough, it should be good enough. So, that should be alright. So yeah, I'll pull up the back grab animation. Sora Yo? Yeah, it's just Sora Yo? I'm not sure exactly what it means. If it means like here, or just go to YouTube directly. Let's see, so Street Fighter 4 Chun-li move list. I think it's this one, maybe? I think so. Yeah, throws here. So, you see, this is our forward throw, and this is the other one. Grabs, palm strike, elbow, kick. So it happens pretty quick. We can step through it. Oh. Yeah, so she grabs, looks like it's kind of pulling him forward a little bit, then she gets down, and here, hits him with that palm strike. Or whatever. And then she flips around, gets him with the elbow. Boom. And then finally, as they're falling forward, smacks him with a kick. And boom, and it sends him forward. Oh, the head spark is way off too, look at that. Oh, why is that so far off? But that's funny. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, and that's it. And then they go, oh, they actually flop over themselves too. That's funny. So that's almost like a ground bounce knockdown. That's funny. Okay, whatever. But you get the idea. So that's what I was modeling this off of. It's not with the same exact timing, but it gives you an idea what it's supposed to be. Boom, 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 boom. So I think it's a decent approximation. I really like how this frame came out. And so this one, not so much. In fact, I can already see an error here. Oh, this is the GIF of it. I'll go to the actual layered version here. So this already here. Why? Whoops. Oh, here. We'll erase that one and that, I guess. That should be up here, I think. So I don't like the general shape of the face here. It looks a little too round. But I don't think that it's necessarily too big here. I think this just needs to come down or something. So we end up with something like this. I don't like the way the eye looks, but I'll be honest, I've been having a very hard time trying to get the eye to look right at this kind of position. Feels like this should be thinner, perhaps. At this point, I think the rest is kind of up to the eye not being jank, but it still looks really jank. We can maybe move it to the left. I don't know how that's going to look. I suppose if that's the case, then this needs to move in. And there could be a case made for having the hint of an eye there. Actually, it was terrible. That don't look quite right, but that might be okay-ish. It's got a really specific eye structure. Should look a little meaner, I guess. Now she just looks cocky. Let's look at some other face works to her. Oh, she's got a really thin eyebrow up on. Oh, she's got a lot of head space here. She's kind of like that. Oh, that looks a bit more mean. There we go. That's starting to get something there. Okay, so she's got. Yeah, she's got like this kind of structure. A little taller though, huh? She's got 4 high. It's only 3 high. So either we come down here. Oh, that don't look too bad. And that still worked a little better. Go closer. No, that doesn't work too well. That's actually not terrible. The angle of the hair does kind of bother me though. It's a little thicker than the other sprites would suggest too. So let's chop down on that a little bit. And the hair bangs or whatever in the front might be able to come in. No, that doesn't look right. They do need to go up, I think, though. Which unfortunately means that I think this eye's got to start to manifest in some form here. Shaded over is not terrible. Oh. I feel like our chest is too far forward too. It should be kind of back. She's leaning back. Or maybe the feet just aren't forward enough for that kind of posture. Yeah, I think they can pop out still, but I do need to kind of bridge this along here. Something like that might be better, or that? No. Or that? No, that's cutting into the white there. Yeah. I don't know. That might be good enough. Okay, so this means the whole thing needs to move in a little to maintain the footing with that foot. That's pretty decent. Kind of like how the hair animates. Alright, so one thing I want to change here. This probably needs to come down like that instead. And this will have to be that. Or it could be that. I think that makes more sense that way. Yeah. I like the way this hair kind of has. Oh, like you can see it. Oh, I guess you can't. The onion skin's a little different. Let's see if we can put it in front. In front. Oh, that's a fucking mess. Alright, never mind. Ah, that's a mess. Never mind. No onion skin. But you can kind of get the, this hair here kind of comes out this way. Like they're being pulled. They're being pulled, and this one kind of like went that way. And the noodling begins. I just like the way the hair kind of, it's staying sort of in place, and the rest of it is kind of pulling it a little bit. I think it looks pretty good. Boom, boom. There. Face looks better than it did before. Not 100% satisfied with it, but it's better than it was. Whoa. I really like that frame too. Get him right in the friggin' ribs. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's not too bad. It's not too shabby. Especially since I had to do those ones completely from scratch. Yeah, I like the way that one came out. And then boom. And then the kick. And the kick just comes from her sheet. I don't think I modified much on that. I colored it, but that was pretty much it. No, it's not terrible. Alright, let's add that to our sheet. Alright, we want only Chun to be visible. Let me do the sheet here. We want it to be in file. All visible layers, all frames, forward, and 100%. Not export for Twitter. Yeah, there we go. No, I don't want that. Do you want to export the animation 14? Cancel. That's not what I want. I want it all in one sheet. Oh, export sprite sheet. Yeah, here we go. Duh. That's right. Do word strip. Wait, I think that's what we want. Then we can come over here. And here she is. Okay, so that's a reused frame. This is not a reused frame, but it's not the one I'm going to use. Just kind of a pseudo frame for making it look like she's grabbing the opponent. We do want this one. We do want this one. That's reused, reuse, 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 reuse. Do you want that one? And I believe these are all reused too. So there's only a few that we really need to port over here. Yeah, backfill. So let's get rid of this one. Start with that. Okay, then got this one. And that's a reuse. Spin. Not sure if I use this one or the one from the other animation. What did I do? No, I just reused that one. Okay. And then it's actually her dodge sprite here. There's a spot dodge mechanic in Match of the Millennium if you choose the S&K groove. That's what that frame comes from. But it makes a good approximation for the frame before. It's almost identical to what she looks like in Street Fighter 4 before she gives the elbow. So I'm like, well, that works. That will do. And it looks cool too, so can't argue with that, I guess. And then this kick. Which is one of these startup frames right here. The light kick. And where's grab all best. Okay, that kick. So this kick was actually from here. I might as well just undo my markings here and copy this. I did color that in the same manner that I would have if I was doing it for real, so. And this is actually a different kick than the light kick, which I didn't notice at first. And that's that. Okay, so this one. That one's a repeat. That one's a repeat. Oh, that one's not a routine, sorry. It's actually part of her win animation. She throws an additional, different kind of kick there. So, there you go. Not too shabby. That's her back throw. May feel like tweaking it later, but for now, I think it's pretty good. Alright, so we do have to go through her data too. Since the original sprites here are based on ones that I ripped. Well, part of it was my rip, part of it was sheets I found on the net. But then we just extracted the data, so we didn't need to possibly have inaccurate rips and all that stuff. So, let's pull the latest and greatest template here. And copy it in here. So Chun-li sheet 2, let's say. And probably the best way to do this would be to take the frames here where they've got the offset points and all that. And, oh, she needs Chun's palette here. Where is Chun's palette? Did I not save it? Maybe I didn't save it. Alright, well, I can fix that too. There she is now. Nearest. Okay, and so then we can just paste these in. Now she's got duplicate frames in her animation here. So we'll have to take a look at these. They start her off here. I don't know if I actually verified that this is how it went or not. But these are all the unique frames. So it looks like, I think so, unless there's more on the other part of the sheet. This is why I cut them instead of copying them, that way I know I've gotten them all. So let's take a look. That's walking, jumping, attacks, push attack, specials, grab, kick, supers, and then her win poses. So it doesn't look like she has any additional poses. So there's only 5, which there's 6 here. Total 5? Did I get that wrong? Oh, there's more than 5. I screwed up over here. Yep, I screwed up. Alright, that's why it looked strange. I screwed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there was a missing frame. I actually did miss one. This is why we do data rips. So let's bring over the 6 that we do have and see if these actually fit in here. Make sure we've got the frames. So I usually just line it up and then walk it back and look to see if I see any regularity in it. Typically, if it's a good rip, you're not going to find anything. Or something easily edited or negligible. That looks pretty good. So far, so good. Kind of curious as to what frame did get left behind. Yeah, looks alright. Okay, this is the one that got left behind. Because these two actually correspond over here. And this is, again, why we do the data rip. We actually missed a frame. Always go to the source. Cannot rely on other people to have accurate sprite rips. Always verify and do them yourself. It is a very key thing that I've learned. Only accept resources from those you know actually can do the job. And that's what will set you apart from everybody else out there. Trust no one, yeah. Or was it Nixon that said trust but verify? Or was that Kennedy? I can't remember. It was one of the presidents. Trust but verify. I like that one. Trust but verify. Okay, so we've got this frame here that was missed on the other sheet. So just color it in. That's bugging me now. What president said that? Trust but verify. They were damn right. So, shoutouts, by the way, to Mr. J. He's the one that figured out the file format for the sprites and ripped all of them to a nice clean sheet. So, I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but that's his handiwork. Twitch says he's still there. I don't know if he'll reply or not. Sometimes Twitch just doesn't... Sometimes Twitch lies to me. So it looks like... Yeah, what frame does this one take over for? So she's going down and coming back up, and you see the hair bands go down and come back up. So that's her normal animation, I think. Actually, it probably cuts off here. Or does it? Okay, yeah. Frame 1, 2. You can tell, like, because she's bobbing her head down and these things are going out. And these are going outward. And then when she reaches the bottom, they collapse back in. She's rising up, so they're getting strained down this way. And then back to this state, and then back up and down, up and down, up and down. So what frame is she blinking on? What one does this really correspond to? Is it this one? Oh, well, it's kind of hard to tell. Her posture doesn't really 100% match any of these. Or is it this one? Oh, here it is. Oh, it's just literally the first frame. Okay. So my best guess here is that this ends up being clone, so all the other ones just kind of loop down in. And so, yeah, it's that frame. She just blinks on that frame. It's the only thing different. So I'm gonna put a little spacer here so that I know that it's like an alternate loop here. Spinning by the Kiku. Yeah, we'll get to that one. I might want to reanimate some of that. I'm not really satisfied with the alpha look. There we go. We're only one animation in and we've already fixed an issue. Alright, let me grab Chun's palette here. These are her select screen, life bar portraits, and the team portrait. And we've got this here. There. Alright, that's lined up recently, I guess. There. And just so we know, as an example, so when I hand a sheet off to people, people are like, why are there black boxes around some of them? Because it's a duplicate. Some are just duplicates. Just how it goes. Okay. We're doing pretty good. We already found an issue. The turnaround sprite, I don't reckon there's much here that's gonna be wrong, but we'll find out. Keep this one here. Oh, in fact, you know what we can do? I'm gonna copy this Chun sheet. I will say, yeah, we'll save that. But I'm going to do an alternate. Chun-li sheet. Oh. Sheet 1 transfer. And this will give us kind of a log of what we've transferred in, so we know that if it's not on the sheet, then it has been transferred. And likewise, it's also why I delete those. So, here it is. I don't expect anything to be wrong with this one, but we'll find out. Do that. Flick it back and forth, and it looks fine. So walk forward. Oh, likewise, we should save this as also a transfer version. Okay, I don't expect anything to be too goofy with the walk frames. Other than the fact that I, again, pulled them off screen there. Nothing looks particularly off there. We'll go to the next one. They're at least in the proper order, it seems. Hey, thanks for the host. I didn't hear a notification though, so I'm wondering. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, my notifications don't seem to be coming through. So now I'm looking at the log. Thank you, Screamin' Red Skull, for the hosting, and also, Crossover Legend 98 has followed, so thank you. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm not sure why it's not coming through, to be honest. Let's see. Oh! I believe I muted that channel on my soundboards, so that would be why. Well, hopefully those are all set now. Well, I'll go ahead and roll forward and see, make sure that if one comes in, I'll try to catch it. What do I use to make sprites? Oh god, a whole myriad of things. For the most part, I still use this really old program called Paint Shop Pro. It's super, super old. And how old, you ask? Copyright 2004. That old. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it. I'm just used to it. It's really good for organizing sprites, so I can balance multiple windows and do stuff like that. And I've trained myself or I'm trained in it, I suppose you could say. So it's easy for me to go and do what I need to do in here. For actual animation, I use a Sprite, and it's like 15 bucks, maybe not even. Let's see, how much is a Sprite? It's really cheap, like 12 bucks or something. Let's see, buy now. It's 15 bucks. It's totally worth it too. Totally worth it. So it allows you to step through animation, and it's got like neat little. It's actually like auto gradient features. There's a whole bunch of shit it goes even above and beyond other stuff. So check that out. That's what I use, and then you can just do your animation here. And you got different layers. So like Ryu's on a different layer, I can turn him off if I don't want to see him. Let you animate. You can see what it looks like up here. I think that's 1:1. No, this is 1:1. Up here on the top. So you can actually animate it in the thumbnail and watch what it's doing, and then go in here and start making changes to see what it looks like animated. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's got a lot of handy shit. So I could say, oh, I'm gonna make this, I don't know, a blue circle here for no particular reason. But you see, it's already updated up here. You can see it happen in the animation. So it's very, very, very handy for that. It was a little bit to set up the way I wanted it, but it works. So I would recommend that. I ended up getting in a Humble bundle, so it was a little cheaper than usual. But sans that, it's only 12 bucks or 13 bucks, was it right? Yeah, $12.99. I already closed it. I think it was $12.99. So it's not bad. You can do a lot worse. I know one of the big time spriters uses. Oh man, what does Hank use again? ProMotion. I guess it's a play on words. They have like a free version now, so I think Hank uses that. He's the guy that did the Lomax games back in the day. He did that new. What the hell is it called now? Man, I'm drawing a lot of blanks today. It's that new Smash TV top-down Genesis game. Like they actually made it on the Genesis. I forget what it was, but he does all this shit in ProMotion. It used to be a paid-for program, and I don't know if there's different tiers now. I know there's like a free version where there was only used to be a trial version, so you'd have to check into it. I haven't used it yet myself. Just haven't found the time to dig into it to see if I liked it or not. But I like a Sprite. I've got used to it now, so it's pretty cool. And it's been doing me justice. Just being able to like go back and forth, and then you got the onion skin. You can see what the next frame is. That's pretty cool. Like that really helps out a lot. So that's all good stuff to have. Alright, last frame. Let's see what we got. Do not detect any aberrations there, so. Alright. Now it seems like it just goes back through these. So it goes forward, it just kind of does the shuffle thing. I'm not the hugest fan of it, but well, I guess these frames never change, so that's fine, we'll just leave them as is. Not the hugest fan of the shuffle, but there's nothing particularly wrong with it. So if I do change it, it'll be a low priority change. Doesn't impact gameplay at all. Where the attacks absolutely impact gameplay. And so we want to make sure that the attacks are done. So when she gets included, we won't have any issues. There, that's all lined up. Okay. And again, also part of this is getting these anchor points here automated for us so we can have that data. Okay, so oh, and we've already got this one, so we'll kill that. And walk backward is just a reverse of that. So we'll kill that. We do not have a dash forward anymore, so I'm just going to delete that. However, the backdash, that's a whole other story. Okay, so, well, we can just assume that we start with that frame. We don't really need to represent that. We do need this frame, which is a new frame. It is not based on anything else. However, it has a similar foot position to this. I believe I edited it from that. So it can also have the same offset point. Okay. And this just is what it is. Alright, that one I don't know quite yet. We'll figure that out in a second. This was also a frame that's new, so it doesn't necessarily have a copy point. Or rather, it doesn't necessarily have a frame represented here in the data rip. However, it is based off of that turn frame. So we're just going to steal the offset point for it. And that will be that. So let's see. Cut it here. I believe the foot positions are the same. They are. Alright. And that's that. Now she's got the offsets there, and get those even. And these ones come down one. There's that. Okay, run forward. No, that's not the next one, but we can do run forward, it's fine. Okay, just 3 frames from here. Where's one? There's one. And then there's another frame here. Now these ones will be a little bit interesting. I might want to tweak some of this, depending on how it ends up. If there are errors, the running animations are usually one of the ones that do have errors. Oh, that one looks okay. I was actually a little concerned that this pixel might have been an error, but it's not. It's just a little butt flap she's got. Butt flap. I guess that's what it is. It's like on the big rigs, so you got the tire flaps, well that's a butt flap. Yeah, she actually had a dark color here to separate the hair. So, let's try that again. I believe I made that edit there. No, this is just, yeah, this is just it coming down. They had a detail problem here, is what it looked like. So, everything else looks okay. Just want to take a closer look than usual with them. So really what really should happen here is this. But I think that they didn't feel they had enough detail because the skin in the 4-color is also white. And so they didn't have enough detail here to do this without it looking muddy, I think. So they ended up doing it this way, and they shaded the skin into the blue so that it didn't conflict with the white of the ribbon. Now it looks a little better with the we could also use the skin shade perhaps, but I don't think it's quite necessary. Yeah, because if I revert this colored version back to the normal palette, you'll see what the problem here is. Now the arm and the hairbands come back to being the same color. And I think that's what they wanted to avoid there. So it ends up looking like this if you revert the palette back. And so now there's no definition between the ribbon and the arm. I'll be honest, in motion, probably most people won't notice anyway. However, might be able to stem that by just using the shaded arm. And so what will happen here is this gets turned to white, but the skin shade actually gets turned to blue because it's the nose color. And then we have basically a recreation of that same effect. Yeah, that ends up looking like this. And now it looks exactly like the original sprite. Considering we do allow these classic palettes to be used, it is worth thinking about those things. Okay, and this one looks pretty cut and dry. I don't see any aberrations there. So, okay, that was a pretty easy peasy one. Only a little bit of thought to modify that one arm. And that was pretty much it. Alright, run stop, that's an animation that I have added. So when the character... I'll pause it or slow it down so you can see. There, so he starts to run. Yes? No? No. Forward, up, forward. Yeah, there you go. So he starts to run, but then he'll come to a stop here. So this is the run stop animation. He comes sliding to a stop. That's what we want to mimic here. Now, I may have had an initial idea of what I was going to do with that, or not. I don't see a run stop, so I'm going to get other frames in here before we dabble with that. So I'm going to put a little explanation. Wow, that's an awful exclamation point. Holy crap. There. So we know that this is something that we're going to have to address. Oh yeah, and while we're here, walk backwards. What frame should we start walk backwards from? If she does this, she's going to bend forward. I guess she's going to bend forward no matter what, isn't she? If she does this, it won't look quite as bad. So let's say that the animation starts here and loops back this way. I think it actually plays in the same order, doesn't it? Or no? Does it actually play in the same order? Just walking forward. I guess I already deleted it. Just to see. Yeah, it literally plays in the same order. It's one of those weird animations that looks right in the same order, backwards and forwards. Very strange. I don't quite like it that much, but I consider it a low priority. So we'll just let it be, I suppose. Oh. Yeah, so then this. I'll probably double check these against the actual game later. Then this one. Now let's put it on so a line on the fly here. I feel like that one's already played on the list. Maybe not. There is a remix of it. No, okay. It's not on shuffle. Oh, that's good. I would have totally lost time if that was the case. Okay, and these are all duplicate frames, so... Whoa! Oh, I fucked up that one. That's not what I wanted. Well, son of a bitch. Yep, okay. Here. This is what I need to change. Yeah, they're all misaligned. Actually, yeah, these... Well, they're the same, right? Well, not exactly, I suppose. I want to start it on a different frame. So, yeah, I'll just blacken these out separately. They're all duplicate frames, so that's what it is. And then here... she'll shuffle back onto the first frame. And that should do that, and these are of course duplicates. I literally just copied and pasted them. So, okay, those are all set. Backdash, got the run. Jump. Okay, jump is just this. Now this pose probably going to change. Part of one of the animations that we change with these characters is adding a crouch frame, which doesn't exist otherwise. And for Chun, we just take the lowest crouch point here, which is probably this one. Where is it? No, it would actually be this one. So she would go down like that, and then she would land bending her legs. Jumping frames for sprite rippers can also be an issue. Sometimes pixels go too high and they don't get the right frame. This one looks alright. Actually, it looks like the same ribbon as this one. Just out of curiosity, did they just copy it? Nah, it's a little different. It's rounded on me. It's almost the same. They did their due diligence. They animated the ribbon every time. Look at that. No skimping on SNK's side. Alright, so one obvious issue you see, we don't have the anchor point here. I mean, I can assume that it's this. Because this lines up. I guess one more. It's probably here. But we don't know, because the sprite renders over the top of it. That's good enough. I mean, how do I want to say it? When I do alignment, it's more of a suggestion than anything, and then I align it how it looks, you know, for the animation itself in the game. The sprites are aligned inside the animation. Anyway, so it just is what it is. here and he, she, whatever. What does it matter? It is just right here. And we'll copy that and just paste that here. There we go. Since this is a reused frame from the standing, that's all there is to that one. Okay. And jumping forward and jumping backwards. Now this, I think she just does some kind of somersault shit forward. She also has rolling frames, but I believe that's only a damage reaction. I'm gonna have to see what her rolling animation in CVS2 is. And good luck, as I have it. We're going to be getting an upscaler for the old consoles, so I should be able to record some shit again. On like being able to play CVS2 would be really nice. So we'll have that to help us with that. I don't know what the role is for Chun in CVS2. She might just do like a spinning crouch. I really don't know. But we'll have to come up with some kind of roll animation. But I have to do research, like I said, on that before I make a decision on what to do. Okay, these undoubtedly will be part of these animations. But where exactly? Oh, I've got a couple varieties here. I must have been doing something different with these sprites. It was probably somebody who didn't rip them correctly. As is often the case. Okay. Yeah, and then this is one frame. That one looks good. I don't see any aberrations there. So this one, I did something to this to fix it. That's why I outlined it. But they look the same. What did I change? Did I change anything? Yeah. It's the panties. Yeah. You see here. That is what I changed. You see here on the original. They kind of just implied the panties. So if I were to fill it in, you just get butt. Butt and a crack. So I actually edited the panties in, or whatever the hell they are. Yeah, so let's back this up here. Alright, so this is the... Yeah, this is the fixed version. Changed the panties, huh? Yeah. I added them. You can scream at me later. Taking away all the booty goodness. Yeah, they just kind of implied them here, which works for the 3-color, but it don't look too good for the full colors, so. It must have stuck out to me for some reason, right? I noticed it somehow. Alright, yeah, and then that's that. So we'll keep that change, because I think it actually looks normal that way. So parts of her design aren't just disappearing frame by frame. Okay, and jump backwards is basically the same thing, just in reverse. So yes, I can just copy this. Yeah, so it's just a reversal of that. That makes sense. All right. Crouching. Now we are going to have a replacement frame for this that looks a little more natural. And the other problem with reusing this idle frame is that if the idle animation is already on this frame and then you crouch, it will appear to stutter or to lag before she actually crouches down. So it's just bad to have that like that. It should be something that's actually made to fit between the two. The actual standing and that. So we're going to simply grab the crouch frame. Pocket did the other crouch frames, and I was really happy with the way he did those, so I'll probably just have him do that. And I don't see any aberrations there, so I think we're okay. We don't see the anchor point though, which is interesting. Did I just not copy it, or does it just not show? It doesn't show here either. That's strange, because the anchor point is below their feet here. So why doesn't it show here? Very strange. Let us look at the original data here. No, it's not here either. That's weird. Oh, this is probably why. A small bit of sprite head rendered below it, and the same thing here. So it's just covering it up. Alright, we can take an educated guess as to what the alignment is here pretty easily. We'll just take the which one did we use? This one? Yeah. So we can easily figure this out. We could say, okay, animates between these two frames, right? Well, boom, there you go. That's the anchor point. There it is. We restored it. Easy peasy. Okay, crouch turnaround. Another pretty simple one, which is, okay, we got that one. This one. So it starts with this frame, and it ends with this frame. Which also means it should be pretty easy to determine where the point here is. I don't know if I guess it would have to be this one. So let's say it's there. If it's off a little bit, big whoop, we can adjust it in game. And then the colored version. Oh, I guess it turns around too. Oh, we can do that. Okay. Are there any aberrations? Anything off? Strange. Pixels missing. Pixels added. Oh, looks pretty good. Okay. And just so we know that, that's how it animates. There it is. Cool. Alright, we got through the whole top part. Save all three. The guarding. Can do those, I guess. Those are actually all the way down here. Guard and crouch guard. I like this track. It's just so happy, I guess. Happy and energetic. It's Necro's stage, I believe. Third strike. Yeah, there. Don't expect these to be too bad. It's actually kind of interesting that that little pixel there is not an aberration. It's just that way. Alright, that looks alright. She does have an air guard, although the game doesn't have that, so it's just an extra frame at that point. Which is, I think I have it down at the bottom, or no? Oh, you know what? I use it for the startup of some attacks here. Looks good to me. We'll leave it down here for the moment. Let's make sure this is... oh, that's the original data. I can say no to that. Okay. Alright, a sidestep move here. Which I believe we're not using it for anything except the back grab, so I'm going to just go ahead and put it over there. Back throw. So originally it was in the extra and unused category, but we're actually using it, so. Alright, that looks alright, and we'll come back to that one. Know that there's something fishy there. Okay. I'm going to say that this is probably going to be your Power Max activation. I like the way it looks. It's actually the startup for her Rising Kick Super, which I'm not sure what the name of that one is. She has it in Alpha, and they kind of since decommissioned it, I guess, or depreciated it. She hasn't had it in many games. Maybe she had it in Marble 3. I can't remember. But you'll know it when you see it here. And while the sprites are there, they will not be used. It's this one here. Forget what it is. Tensho, Tenshin, something like that. As she says when she uses it. I think. Something like that. Anyway, but that was very much an alpha move, and we're not going to be using it, at least not in that capacity if it does ever get in. So we'll use these frames for something else. Make them cool. That is not the right frame. So I actually had them backwards. Or the Ripper did it first and backwards rather. But that's no big deal. They loop into themselves anyways. It is what it is. I'd like to find a nice intro frame for that. But since not all the frames are in, we'll just mark it as something that needs attention. And we'll come back to it. Armor Max, I have no idea what that would be. Not really sure. But what I do know is that is done. Alright, the rolling, man, I don't know what that's going to be used for exactly. Did I did put it under air damage. Okay. Well, for now, just for now, I'm going to put it in the extra category. So this was the version I did here, which is completely different than these ones, apparently. So, alright, I don't see anything different there. So here's the deal with this. If I rotate this clockwise, oh, that's the whole thing. That's not right. Where are we? We're all the way at the bottom, right? Yeah. Let's try that again. Rotate, free rotate to the right, 90 degrees, not all the layers, just that one. Okay, so let's take a look at this and compare it to this. It should be the same sprite, just rotated. It is. So, you know what? We don't actually need it. And you may be wondering, okay, well, hold up. Why is it there if it's not necessary? If it's just a clone of that, why would it even be in the sheet as a separate thing? Well, two reasons really. One is that they have different anchor points, so these sprites are constructed from the tiles, but it doesn't mean that this is a wholly duplicate, or this doesn't mean that it's not duplicated in sprite data like this. It doesn't mean that like this pose to this pose doesn't have everything is not different. There's parts of the body that don't change, and that's actually shared in tiles between these two poses. And this is just a representation of what the animation frame would render as, not necessarily the tiles. So two things. One, this gives them a point to latch it onto, so this is a frame of animation that they're going to use the points for. But the other thing is the old consoles, most of them, I wouldn't say that not every one of them, but the majority of them can't rotate. So if you have this pose here that's rotated of this pose, it can mirror it, and it can flip it, but it can't rotate it. And no amount of mirroring and flipping is going to get you a rotation. So they actually have to draw and insert both of these into the sprite data, so that I can use them both. It's typically what you see, which sucks, but it is what it is. It would be nice if they could do that, but they probably can't rotate it in real time without it chugging on the processor. So it just doesn't happen. Okay, this is a taunt. Could also be a win pose as well, but I would say that it is her taunt primarily, so we'll treat it that way. And we'll grab that from down here. Okay, and it does have a startup frame. It just happens to be that, so it's no big deal. I like this track too, by the way, The Longshoreman. That one's really good. I like that. Sean's and Oro's stage in the bay. I'd like to think that it's probably more Sean's theme than Oro's, but it is what it is. Third Strike didn't have specific themes for every character, so you got what you got. Alright, I don't see anything that looks wrong there. And again, I based these original colored versions that I made off of various sprite rips. And I did a little bit of ripping myself, but once I got the data rips, I knew that I would have to verify that they're all correct anyway, and that's what this is for. Cool. Alright, that one's down. Not really sure how I'd end that animation, but I can just whip that up in-game when we get to it. Alright, this is Dizzy. Has 3 frames, which is pretty funny looking. She's got a headache. Those are here. These can sometimes be a pain. People don't often rip these correctly because the little stars that fly around their heads sometimes interferes with it. Okay. They are out of order already, but that's alright. It's not the worst thing in the world. So that's the middle frame here. They just did them backwards. Yeah, that looks alright. And that looks alright to the eye. Cool. Oh. I'll get him out of there. A fall down frame. I believe that's part of the knockdown animation. Which probably has a whole bunch of reused frames into it. It does. So. Cut. Which this is actually missing an anchor, which kind of bugs me, but that's what it is. Yeah, alright. So what can we do about that missing anchor point? Yeah, it's actually missing. Alright, let's take a look at the original tile data. It is here. Yeah, and I believe it's probably because it's like here. It's getting covered up by the rest of the sprites. Well, this one's kind of a winger. We don't have too much context here for where this might actually end up. Because she goes from here to having her legs together again. There's not really a clear flow of motion here. You could possibly say that this is an alignment. And then she pulls herself up to meet this leg. Okay, let's go based on that then. Let's see what we get. So if that's the case, you don't like something. I don't know if you can hear him barking or not. Keeping them coyotes away. Yeah. Dog time. Okay, so the cutout here ended up being this. Thank you. Alright, so we'll know that this is the anchor one. We'll just write A for anchor. Looks like the Avengers sign. Avengers assemble. There. I guess it will look kind of like this instead. There you go. Oh, Avengers. Oh, Avengers assemble. That's an A for anchor, so we know that that's the anchor version. And that will delineate here with just a line. The demo's out right now. Let's see. Do I have a thing for it? I do. There you go. There's the download. The current version has Ken, Terry, and Ryu in it, and soon the yet-to-be-announced 4th character will be in, but the first 8 characters will be Ken, Ryu, Chun-li, Guile, Iori, Kyo, Terry, and Mai. Just what order they show up in has not been determined yet. So, that gives you any idea. We just happen to be working on Chun-Li's stuff today. Chun is a very precious character to me, so I'm giving her a little extra treatment. I suppose this is a stand-up. This is actually the stand-up animation. Yeah. Okay, so that's out, that's out. Yeah, that was the get-up animation. Here's the knockdown one, which is actually uses a bunch of frames, so we'll leave that for later until we get to it. I also did not like these. Well, rather compress them toward each other. They're not taking up a shit ton of space there. Hey, no problem. The next step that we're working on is online, GGPO, and that's going to be a big task, so yeah, we'll be doing that one for a while. Alright, we get the wall jump. That's a special ability. Chun's one of the only few that can do that. Alright, then, if that's the case, let's go all the way to the bottom. And give her a little space up here to add this into her default actions. There, something like that. So, paste it here. And, hello. Is dinner ready?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay. I still got a little bit left, but yeah.
Okay.
I just wondered. Yeah, we still got some time left. It's getting close to the end, but we're still here. Alright. Wall jump. There we are. Okay, and we'll put it here, and I don't expect this to have anything special with it. It's probably just going to go back to this frame, or back to this frame, and do another jump. Hey, speaking of Chun, there it is. Got the theme. So, we'll save that. And this one I think was in the, yeah, the unused category here. Extra and unused. Okay. So. Uh-oh. Well, this is different. Oh, it's different? Look at it. It's different. And you know why? Because the Rippers didn't think. They just assumed that when Chun's on the side of the screen here, this probably looks like this. They just assumed that that's what the sprite looked like. And they filled it in themselves. They said, oh, okay. Well, it looks like that this is just like this, and this is just like this. But Again, that's why we do data rips and we do our own stuff. There's missing data here. Okay, this whole hand part here, missing data. That's what the frame really looks like. Okay. Yeah, white and the brown first. This is why we verify. Assume that that's a hand there. Shortcut keys in a sprite are different than the ones here, so sometimes if I want to fill something I hit G, but that's a different tool in this one. It's actually F here. I missed a white spot there, and I missed an I spot here. And I just go through line by line and look, see if anything looks strange. It looks pretty solid there. Alright, so that frame's garbage, and we got our new nice and fresh frame. Minty fresh. And that's how we fix these errors. I want to make sure we have the most accurate sprites going into the game. Nothing less will do. Okay. Here's the slap. Alpha slap. I don't know if I want to keep this one or not. It's innocuous enough. My only problem with it is that she actually never uses her left hand because this punch is the same thing. So this here, notice she's using the same arm here. And then in Street Fighter 3 she doesn't. She uses her left hand, I believe. I don't know if I have it here or not. If I ripped it to look at it or not. I don't think so. Yeah, I ripped like the grab width and that kind of stuff. That's it. We can take a look at it though, just to see what it looks like. It is one I'm considering redoing, but I don't think it's necessary to redo since it has the same basic structure between Alpha and this one. Yeah, so see she. Oh no, that's close. We want to do the far jab. Sorry, that's the elbow. Jab. Yeah, so it's basically the same thing, it's on the other arm. But it's essentially the same. Same thing, just a different arm. So, perhaps I will, perhaps I won't. It's not the end of the world. Let's see. Yeah, this is the original one that I covered. I don't expect anything here to be necessarily wrong, but we always check anyway. Remember, verify, 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 and do it yourself, or make sure someone you trust completely to do a good job is the one doing it. Don't settle for slackers. Yeah, and they look alright. So there's that. And now we've got the anchor points on. And oddly enough, it's actually going to the crouch light at this point. Crouching light punch. Trust no one. Yeah. Trust no one except the ones you can trust. How's that for, saying everything and nothing at the same time? Trust no one except the ones you can trust. What the heck's that supposed to mean? You'll figure it out. You'll eventually come across people that you trust their skills and you trust that they're right. Because they've proven to be right time and time again. And that's how it goes. And that's the people that you trust to hand off an entire section of your game to. Say, okay, you know what the hell you're talking about, so, here. This entire part, it's up to you. You work your magic, and whatever you got, you got. But don't ever expect to walk in the door and have that. Alright, I'm assuming there's some startup frame that I wedged in here. No! Maybe? Oh, I deleted it, I think. Oh, there's a gap here. Yeah, that was the one that I took. The air guard frame. Oh, this one also doesn't have an anchor, rather. Does not have an anchor. Alright, looks good though otherwise. So let's bring in... This one's ambiguous enough, I'm not really sure what the anchor should be. Even comparing it to a different frame is probably not going to help. And here's the one we saved and set aside. And that's for here. I'll be honest, looking at it though, I don't see why the anchor got covered up here. Because it's gonna animate something like this. So why is that anchor gone? Alright, let's investigate that. That's strange. I expect that once I looked at it. Oh, part of the sprite comes down here. So you can see where the sprite tiles are blocked out. Oh, and that's the time up buzzer. So I have to wind down now. We did pretty good though. Did pretty good. If I had to guess, let's see where she's. Trying to get an idea of what's going on with this frame here. That looks pretty legit there. So let's say it's there. And if it's off a little bit, it's off a little bit. We can adjust it in the animation in game. So, okay. Let's clean up here, and we'll head on out.
Get off the internet, I need soup with me.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Me?
Almost done. Cleaning up now. Love you.
Love you too.
Doing Chun sprites.
I'll wing you in the back of the head with a jar of Prego.
The jar of Prego?
That's
no.
a joke, because Mark hates store-bought
Yeah,
sauce.
I was gonna say. Store-bought sauce is all. Look, I come from a half Italian family. We don't use Prego. Alright? Look, the Polish side of the family uses Prego, and it's not right. You know? It's not right. I'll make my own goddamn sauce, and it'll be 10 times better than this Prego shit.
I'm from Kentucky. This is a Prego household. You get with the program.
And not gonna happen.
I've got my arm drawn back. I'm gonna rock you one.
Go ahead, hit me. It's better than eating Prego anyway. Prego's garbage.
I got roasted garlic and herb flavor. It sounds good.
Yeah, what sounds good and what's actually good is two just separate fucking things. Alright, we did pretty good. We got a pretty good amount done. It's quite a process to verify this stuff, so we did pretty good, and we reanimated a couple things. We figured out a few errors to fix, so we're doing alright. Mark after eating Prego. Yeah! Ugh. Oh, it's awful. I think about how it tastes right now, and it's awful. I make my own damn sauce. And it's pretty good, too. It's my secret family recipe! Actually, no, it's not. It's funny because both my grandmother and her sister, they're like, oh, the sauce that I make, this is how Mama used to make it. And they're completely different. They're two separate recipes. And I'm like, alright, one of you is lying or senile or something, because this is not right. It's just... Yeah, I'm not Italian, and I hate when a certain someone makes spaghetti with Prego. I feel you. Yeah, see? Prego is shit, man. It's shit. So Grandma makes it one way, makes a very sweet sauce, and then her sister makes a very savory sauce. But they'll both tell you that it's Mama's secret recipe, and I'm like, okay, it's obviously bullshit because it's one of you is just flat out wrong, and they're completely separate. They're very different sauces, so I don't know. I'll make Grandma's sweet sauce if I'm making a pizza, and I'll make my great aunt's savory sauce when I make pasta. So they both have their applications. They're both good. So that's pretty much it for that. And we reached the end of the playlist. Will it loop in for me here, or will it not? There's a lot of silence on that last track there. Is it gonna loop? Or I gotta do it myself? No, it looped. Okay, cool. I'll let it go. Yeah, pack it up. So yeah, that's it for now. We got a pretty good set of anchor points going on, and we figured out some stuff. And this is the devil's in the details. If we don't do this, then it just doesn't look and animate right. So it's a necessary process. And you'll see the heavy punch and stuff. That's not the same as her sprites, and you'll see that when we get to that one. So this frame is completely manufactured, and the way that she animates here is more Third Strike-like. So that was changed. I don't really like the way this frame came out. This is kind of a sort of hard kick from Third Strike. Heavy kick or whatever. Alright, here's the air punch. These are the original frames, I think. Oh no, these are the modified ones. I think, yeah, I did port them back. And here's the... Yeah, these are the updated frames for the neutral jump heavy kick. And this, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I don't like these at all. I might do this for a neutral light kick, perhaps. This is her alpha hard kick, and it's just, or heavy kick, whatever. Air roundhouse, whatever you want to call it. I don't like it. It's just crappy. And yeah, there's good stuff. So I did this one as well. The push. Now she has a push animation. I just don't like it very much. It's actually her spot dodge attack, like a reversal thing. I don't know where it is now. Oh, here. I don't know. I just don't like the look of it. I think mine looks a little better because this is the alpha version. It's not the Third Strike one. Mine's mono Third Strike, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's where we are, and we're getting there. So it's a slow process, and since most of the stuff I'm doing throughout the week is based on coding, at least I get a chance here to do some sprite work. with you guys, so that's always fun. It's a very relaxing activity for me. Let's see, where's that back fierce? Where's it towards fierce? Back fierce. Everybody's played Third Strike. Well, this thing's burned into their memory. There it is. A. And when they backdash, you know it's coming. Just spam that shit to get some meter. And it looks so good in Third Strike, though. Look at the, just whoosh, look at that. All that power in it. Shit's good. But yeah. Anyway, so I'll be back on Thursday. We're gonna be doing the Haunted Mansion platform game, the Retro Mansion game, which is our own original project. And that will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've got, it should be in tomorrow. We've got an upscaler to get the consoles back able to be recorded and streamed. So if that works and everything's all good with that, then we'll be back with Silent Hill 2 on Saturday, which Amber has informed me after the fact that that's a very long game. So we'll be we'll be doing that for a few weekends at least. So it sucks that the equipment broke last time and we weren't able to do anything with it, so we kind of missed that weekend. But so that's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Silent Hill is GOAT. Yeah, Amber really loves that one. So 2's been interesting so far. I played 1 last year and in November, and that was interesting, and I quite liked it. I wasn't sure what to make of it, but I quite liked it in the end. And then so 2 has been pretty good so far too. So we're going to continue on with that. And I'm going to find a day to... We'll have to do something for Halloween, right? And that's coming up. So this weekend, we'll be playing Silent Hill 2. But then Halloween's coming up on next Thursday. So we're going to have a full night of that stuff. I'll probably be playing Castlevania 4. That's a tradition. Maybe try to fit in the Adventure Rebirth somewhere there. Or maybe Saturday I could fit that into. And then we'll do more Silent Hill 2 on those 3 days as well. We'll make a whole big thing of it. So I'll post on the Twitter and in the Discord and on the Facebook, you know, exactly what days we'll be doing. But we always do Saturday at 7, so that's how it works. The movies are a stain on the game series, to be honest. I did, yeah, since I finished 1, I did watch sort of a breakdown of the movie of Silent Hill 1, and while it wasn't as egregious as it could have been, it was bafflingly changed for seemingly no reason. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, we'll be back then, and hopefully this upscaler should work with all the consoles in one degree or another. So everything should be back on the table. It should be able to do the Game Boys and the Super Nintendo and all that. So when it comes in, I'm going to fully test it. And I'll probably just be showing off some samples and going through that in the Discord if you want to drop by and see how that's working, and then you'll know what to expect. So until then, I guess that's pretty much it. Let me get the Discord link in there. Discord. Remember, kids, there's life after Prego. So there's the Discord chat there. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, the link is down in the description or the pinned post or whatever. So that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, scrub out, and we'll see you next time.